Welcome everyone to another powerful live conversation. Today we're joined by Sharon Ndzamela, a modeling career consultant who specializes in preparing and equipping talent to operate effectively within the modeling industry. Through her work, Sharon focuses on developing models beyond potential, helping them understand how to position themselves professionally, refine their presentation, and become valuable assets within the agency they are assigned to. She also works closely with pageant contestants, guiding them to not only present themselves with confidence, but to communicate with clarity and use their voice to engage and impact social issues with intention. In this session, we'll explore the evolution of the modeling industry, what it takes to succeed in 2026, and why the shift from preparation to refinement is becoming the true differentiator. Get ready for practical insights, honest conversation, and a deeper understanding of what it takes to build a sustainable presence in today's modeling space. How are you, Sharon?
I'm well, Sid. How are you? That was a mouthful of a CV, hey? But I think for
Yeah.
me, if we could just put it together. I'm
Mhm.
just a lover of people. I love this industry, and having had my experience in modeling, now being a consultant, I am just saying, hey, get ready, get prepared. So I'm well. How are you?
I'm awesome. And yeah, but thanks for your assistance regarding that CV because I wouldn't have ever wanted to do a disservice to you.
You did not at all. So thank you so much as well for reading it out because it is 28 years of
Wow.
experience.
28
Yes.
years. I wouldn't have believed that.
I'm 46 years old.
Wow, impressive. Alrighty. Okay, we'll get the ball rolling, Sharon. Your work with the making of a model has shaped many aspiring talents. What core qualities do you believe define a successful model in 2026?
That's a very important question. And I wouldn't answer it and say in 2026, this is what a successful model is characterized as. I would rather, my response would be a successful model is defined beyond appearance. And what I mean by that, in order for one to be sustainable in this industry, there are three character traits that one needs to possess or start building upon. And one of them being awareness, self awareness, as well as alignment, as well as adaptability. So one needs to be very adaptable in 2026 because of the major shift. And I know we're going to touch on it, AI. So it is very important as an aspiring model, whether you want to enter into the beauty pageant space or you want to go mainstream TV commercials, runway modeling, that you comprehend and understand what it's going to take for you to become sustainable in this industry. And this is going to help you position yourself and understand your value. So, things such as good communication skills. You must be able to communicate your story very well. You must also be able to represent a brand as well as yourself, not only just on the runway, but on digital platforms as well. So I believe that a successful model in this dispensation in 2026 is one who really understands their unique value, someone who's very disciplined enough to refine their craft. I can speak until I'm ready, but I think those are the foundational aspects, Sid.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you had mentioned about AI, so we'll get into that question now. How has the modeling industry evolved over the past few years, especially with the rise of digital platforms and AI casting?
Look, AI is not going to replace models. And I say this because I'm confident in understanding that, the career, when one pursues a career in modeling, you're bringing in the human factor. But With that being said, AI will replace unprepared models because the what AI is doing, it's increasing efficiency. When you look at the digital production space, it's increasing efficiency also in campaign testing as well as castings. With that being said, it will never replace human interaction. It will not replace that emotional connection, because that is what the audience is after. Yes, the standard has elevated, the standard has increased. However, it's going to take us mentors, us trainers, as well as the aspiring models working together intentionally, being more aware of the spaces that we can occupy physically and also thrive under on the digital space. So we really need to be aware and understand that AI can make a horrible master, but is a great servant, I always say.
So it's basically like an assisting aid AI. It's not supposed to really intentionally or unintentionally, replace humans and all that. It's just a very good assisting tool.
Indeed, indeed. And it's going to take a lot of information that is accumulated well, so that when we assimilate that information, we're able to execute what we expected as models to bring along. So that human factor, that realness of how we connect as human beings, that cannot be replicated by AI.
Mm, that's
Yes.
true. As a mentor, what are the most common misconceptions young models have when entering the industry?
From my experience training aspiring models, one of the big misconceptions is that beauty or appearance is primarily what modeling is about.
Mm,
And I, I, I differ from that, because the reality is that it's the other skills, it's the preparation, it's the discipline. Because Sid, one needs to understand that when you are not aware of the spaces that you're getting into, this is where now experiment comes in. So it is important for anyone that's entering into this industry to understand that this space is a professional space. The modeling industry will require you to have structure, to be disciplined, and also to have a strategy, because you must understand how to position yourself. It takes a certain mindset as well, because this mindset will then build up the confidence when you understand that the 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 growth aspect, the rejection is part of the process. So I see that most aspiring models who enter into this industry, they really underestimate the importance of preparation,
mm,
because it's beyond looking the part. Another misconception is that people think that opportunities will come simply by you just being seen. And that's
mm,
not the case. Visibility, being visible and not being positioned correctly, or understanding what your position is not going to bring about or create longevity. So models really, really need to understand their value. They need to understand the market. They need to understand how to intentionally position themselves as well in the market in order to build their modeling career and be sustainable.
awesome. Can you walk us through your process when developing a new model from raw potential to runway ready?
The three pillars that I work on is mindset, skill set, and tool set. So when an aspiring model comes through to consult with me, or a parent of a young model who wants to enter into a modeling industry, or a beauty pageant contestant that wants to be trained by me, I take them through three phases. Excuse me, it's the flu.
No worries.
I promise you, this weather is something else.
I can understand. the season changes and all that.
So I take them through three phases. The first one is discovery and alignment, because I'm a firm believer that each and every one of us have got a natural skill, a natural talent.
Mm,
We discover that, and then we then start building from there. That's the second phase, the building phase. This is where we then use the technical skills of awareness, discipline, understanding, like even as I'm talking to you, posture, eye contact, how to communicate your message once we've discovered what your key strengths are. And then the third phase is the refinement and positioning, because the modeling industry is so vast. You can't just say, hey, I want to be a model. You need to know what type of a model you want to become. And then this is where now we are very intentional to get you to be industry ready. So at this stage, the model is ready. The model is ready to sign with a modeling agency, because Sid, what most models don't understand is that yes, you can approach a modeling agency today,
mm,
and then they like your features and your look and sign you up, and then the next
mm,
day, there's an audition. So can you see where the gap is? There isn't that training, that
mm,
preparation that you, as an aspiring model, can confidently get into the industry and know that when you go for auditions and are sent for those castings, you're able to then book those jobs confidently, knowing that you've been prepared. So there's a huge gap that I have found that I need to fill in for any aspiring model or beauty pageant contestant to best prepare themselves on how to ensure that their presence will then translate into impact consistently, because that's how we make our money. We make our money through going for auditions and entering these pageants to win. So if one is not properly trained, how then does one ensure that they are confident when they're going for the auditions to book those jobs consistently? So my three pillars I seen in the past 10 years have really, really um, helped to establish models and help them to also book the commercials, TV commercials, as well as win beauty pageants. So these phases really, really are pivotal for any aspiring person entering into this market.
In your experience, how important is mindset and personal discipline compared to physical appearance in a model success?
That's a very good question, because our industry is very visual. It's appearance driven. That is only the entry point, Sid. It will not take you to stay in the rooms. It will not
Mm,
take the next phase of your journey. So mindset and intentionally building a consistent, disciplined life to refine your skill. Those are the things that will set you apart. In my experience, what separates a model from one who gets noticed and the one who builds with intentionality a lasting career is mindset. Because our industry, the modeling industry, is not linear. You get to experience the highs and the lows of the industry. You get to experience rejection. It's a high pressurized industry that requires you to be consistent, and you need to have a disciplined mindset and a mindset to understand growth opportunities that are available within the industry. So again, you might look the part, that will open up the door, but that will not help you to be sustainable. It's about, again, the discipline and positioning and understanding your value, being intentional how you refine your craft, that will cause you to be sustainable and last for 28 years in the industry.
so it's down to mind over matter type of thing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What challenges do you see emerging in the modeling space in 2026, and how should upcoming talent prepare for them?
I believe everything of value takes time. There's no such thing as an overnight success model or an overnight successful anything. Everything takes time. And the key
Mm.
here is process. And how does this preparation look like? In 2026, in order for anyone to thrive in whatever they are desiring to pursue, you need a mentor. You need someone that has gone ahead of you. I have learned in my journey, having so many mentors, that when one stands on someone else's shoulders, you're able to see further. And one of the challenges that I would want the young ones to really just not be distracted by is just find yourself a coach. Find yourself someone who's gone ahead. There's nothing new under the sun. Make sure that that individual aligns with your vision, because they will not be able to take you anywhere if you don't know what your vision is, so that you can avoid those pitfalls that some of us have experienced. I mean, I never had a mentor when I started modeling at 17. So it was literally trial and error. So to avoid those challenges, I would say is get a mentor like myself who knows what they're talking about, who's had the experience, and who'll be able to direct you and guide you so that you can take your vision to the next level.
All right, I will get to my final question and then I'll get to do the comment questions. So, looking at your journey, what has been your most defining moment and what legacy do you hope to leave in the modeling industry?
Sure. One of my most defining moments was when I had a conversation with my late booker,
Okay.
who played a very pivotal part in my journey, in my modeling journey. And I said to him, I wanted to leave modeling. I was done. I had other desires to pursue. That was, I think, 10 years into my modeling career. And he
Okay.
said to me, Sharon, with the wealth of knowledge that you have, what are you going to do about that? There's such an influx of models that are coming into the industry. Who's going to mentor them? That birthed something in me, Sid, and that's when I started to do the free workshops since 2014, just going around the country, sharing the insight, preparing the models to say, don't go in there without the right knowledge and so on. So I believe, this burden of me wanting to see and leave a legacy of individuals who know what to do when they enter into the market of modeling, who have the potential to take their careers to the next level. I mean, for me, this industry has opened up so many doors for me, and I know we're going to talk about it much later. One of them being the opportunity of producing fashion shows that got birthed by being positioned when I started modeling and started to see what was happening backstage. So the legacy that I really want to leave is individuals who are empowered with the right knowledge so that they're able to execute what they are expected to execute, and hopefully that will also birth their own visions on how to thrive in this industry. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done.
Awesome. All right, I'll get to the comment questions here. This is from Jitin Rishika. Wow, Sharon, you look incredibly beautiful. The model in your shows. How do you visualize the modeling industry in the near future?
Thank you so much. I believe that modeling is a platform to expose you as an entrepreneur. When you are entering into the field, you're exposed to so many aspects, from project management to marketing to understanding how visually everything comes together. to a point where the customer will buy something. So it's a birthing place for any individual who wants to really understand the dynamics or the ecosystem of how business works. And I know that this will birth a lot of leaders. It will also birth a lot of individuals who will be the next world changers, because it's not just a creative space where one expresses with themselves, but again, it is a space where you can start your own business and thrive, not only just within the beauty industry. As I mentioned earlier, there's so many opportunities, project management, sales, branding, where one you can just, from just being booked, for instance, as a model to promote a brand, you get to sit with the CEOs, you get to sit with the um, marketing departments just to gain understanding as to why they chose you as the face. So it's going to take you to really sit and listen and learn, so that when the time comes where you're able to say, hey, I'd like to align myself in this particular industry, you would have been already exposed and have learned and have the confidence to start and build your own legacy.
Beautiful. All I gotta say, Sharon, is thanks so much for your time, and I hope to catch up with you once again in the future.
Definitely will. And I just want to say thank you so much, Sid. What you're doing is absolutely amazing. I've had the opportunity to look at your YouTube channel, and I just want you to keep thriving, keep pressing in. I know that in a year's time, we will be calling you requesting interviews,
Oh,
but
thank
thank
you.
you for the opportunity.
You're most welcome.